everybody. This is Brady Henderson with the Swansea Tigers Sports Network, and we are here with our weekly preview show of Swansea Tiger football here with Willie Fox, the head coach of the 8-1 Tigers. And you're listening to Tiger Den episode number 4, the podcast of the Swansea Tiger Sports Network. And, Coach, we saw you last night. When we saw you last night, we were cold. I would say we were cold. Y'all were cold and wet. We were in the booth calling a bowl game for the middle school as the Sandhill Tigers defeated Carolina Springs 22-14. And for those that weren't there, the game started off with a bang. And number one for the Huskies, scores untouched pretty much on the first play of the game, 50 yards. And we all looked at each other and said it's going to be a long night. But the Tiger defense came out the rest of the game, held them tough, ended up winning 22-14. Elijah Waymeyers, 26 carries, 196 yards, average 7.5 a carry. Pretty much ran the same play all game long, just different sides. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And Tristan Watts, I guess we can give him some credit for calling a great game. But yes, anyway, that was good for your middle school to end on a 4-3 season and to end well like that.
Yes, sir. One of my favorite quotes in coaching is that football is a simple game complicated by coaches. So Coach Watts did a good job last night, getting him in the end zone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the offensive line blocked well. Our guys held on to the ball really well all night long, and we're able to end the season with a victory and have a winning season. So they've got the Coach Williams and that crowd has got the middle school heading in the right direction. So.
Absolutely. That's a good program. So let's talk a little bit. We've got Newberry this week on our preview show, and we only have one more guaranteed preview show with you, Coach Fox, which will be next Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have more, but only time will tell that as we get ready for the playoffs. And this game has big implications to the playoffs and what that is going to look like. But let's take a step back and look at Fox Creek. Sadly, I was not there, so I am relying on you guys and our sound engineer, Alan, to kind of help me with that. But, of course, got a lot of updates throughout the game. What I heard from Matt Barfield was that it was a vintage Willie Fox offensive game. Early in the game, Kendall Wright goes out with injury, obviously in street clothes in the second half. You hope that he's going to be able to play this week and should be able to play this week. But anyway, so in poetic fashion, Daniel Graddick comes in the game. Wing T was a big part of the game. Not one completion. I believe after the stats settled, I believe JR said it was 403, but I think it was 339 according to the stats that you sent me. So either way, all rushing yards, a lot of them, and no completions. Your thoughts on that? But at the end of the day, anytime you run over 300 yards on somebody, you're doing pretty good.
Yes, sir. We tried to throw a few passes. When Kendall went down, and Graddick's a good passer, but we just ended up in a couple situations where we wanted to throw the ball or we were trying to throw the ball, and I think we attempted 6 passes. We ended up throwing 1 interception, and that was my fault. That wasn't his. I told him where to go with the ball, and he just, there was another guy. It didn't work out the way we wanted it to work out.
Gotcha.
But we ran the ball really well. Our defense played really, really well. And it was a night, I told the kids, man, it was a night where a lot of things didn't go our way, and we still found a way to win a football game. Anytime your starting quarterback gets hurt, and then we have other guys. We had a line. Charlie Moody went down late in the game, and we had to play some other guys that hadn't played a whole lot in the season, and those guys were in there on that last touchdown drive. Man, it was a really, really good football game. And I came back in here in the coach's office after the game, and I said, how many of you guys have won a game and not completed a pass before? Nobody raised their hand. I said, well, I have. I've won a bunch of them. So,
yeah.
It's passing the ball. We want to be able to throw it, and we want to be able to hit passes down the field and that sort of thing. But, just sometimes when you have the run game working, kind of like what we did Friday night, what we have the past 2 weeks, to be honest. You can win a lot of football games keeping the ball away from the other football team.
Yeah, absolutely. And you beat a good Fox Creek team. I think they showed that, 24-13. Big win. Obviously, with that win, you secure a home playoff game. No matter what happens this week, we're going to be able to host at least one home playoff game here at Doug Bennett, and that's huge for the community, huge for the football team and these kids. And so, of course, Dante and DeAndre getting the majority of the carries this past Friday. Trey Selfridge also had a good night. Your main players made big plays. Also heard Therese James, I believe, was the backup punter for Kendall Wright. hard to believe you have a backup punter, but when your quarterback is your punter, you got to have somebody. Terez is a great athlete, as we know. Fumbled the snap, took the football almost all the way, and kind of ran out of gas there at the end. But just a great night for your seniors. And I forgot last night to ask you this question, but want to give you the opportunity now. Talk to us a little bit about this senior class. Obviously, as sophomores, whether they were on varsity or on JV, didn't win a game. You come in. Junior year, things change, and in a lot of ways, this class has been a foundational piece for what you're building. And I think you would agree with me that what we're seeing this season and what we saw last season is what we want to see more of in the future, and even beyond, better than these 2 seasons. And so this is just the beginning of what you're trying to build here. So how much does this senior class mean to what you're building?
This senior class is just a great group of kids. Last year's senior class, I told them that, they were going to be the foundation of what we built on when they left here. And this senior class is very much the same way. Just some outstanding young men, some really good football players in that group. We're gonna, when this season's over, we're obviously gonna miss them. But they have done a really good job of setting the example for what we want our program to be about. They've bought into everything that we've talked about. They've been, we talk about the foundation of our program being TACT. They've been great teammates. They've so many times, so many of those guys have put what we want to accomplish as a team ahead of their own goals. They're accountable young men. They accept, and they've gotten better over time at accepting coaching and being able to not only hold themselves accountable, but hold each other accountable. And they're competitors. I think that's obvious. They play really hard. Our kids play really hard. We have other coaches talk about, man, you guys play really hard, and they're tough. Like, I think that's what won the game the other night. We talked about, coach. I hear coaches all the time talking about, man, we want our kids to be tougher. We want our kids to be tougher, and we all want our kids to be tougher. But I think the other night, man, we showed some toughness. Everything went. There were so many things that went against us, and our kids just faced it up and kept going. We're gonna miss these guys, but I think all of this crowd. I was talking to my wife the other day. I was like, I don't think there's a guy in that senior class that's not going to be successful when he leaves here. Whatever they decide to do, they're just such good kids. They're going to be, we're going to see them on Friday nights, and just awesome group of kids.
Well, and it looked like, based on the senior night, notes that we were given to read off, a lot of them want to go into welding. So I don't know what the attraction is there. Obviously, a good career, but a lot of them are interested in that. And so, obviously, a great way to, in the regular season, get close to it as far as the home slate goes. A lot of fans were here Friday night, and of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Night, the Swansea Strong T-shirts were in full swing. Like we said, Daniel Graddick, ran the offense. Even if he didn't complete a pass, he still ran the offense well. And he's got his senior baseball season to look forward to, when this is all over. But the wing team was on full display from what I heard. And so just a great night all around. Defensively, want to allow you to elaborate on that. Obviously, Nick Riley's coming out party is what I saw on the post-game video that you guys can find on YouTube as well as Facebook on the Swansea Tigers Sports Network. But, yeah, we've been talking about it for several weeks now about Nick getting ready to really come into his own, and he did that from what I heard. And that when I heard that, it didn't surprise me at all.
Yes, sir. Nick's a freak athlete. He's so big. He's so strong. He's so quick. He's a monster in the weight room. He's just a really good football player, and at times this year he's looked that way. He's had flashes where he's been really good, and then other flashes where he's struggled. Really, his first year playing football in a while. Mm-hmm. So he had a coming out party the other night. Man, I think he had 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. He had a huge tackle on a screen that they threw to their receiver, and he tried to cut back across the middle. And usually defensive linemen can't make a tackle on a receiver in the open field. And, he got him down out there in space. And those are those are plays that show you how good Nick is, and was really proud of how hard he played the other night. Played hurt too, so showed a lot of toughness.
Absolutely. Did very well. Had several injuries last week. We won't go in depth, but we should have Jarrell Wine back this week. That's a big thing. Charlie Moody, kind of iffy there. Nick Riley, not sure, but should have Kendall Wright back. So
yes, sir.
2 questionable and 2 probable is probably how we would say that. I do get this question a lot before we kind of move into a little bit of Newberry. Just explain for our fans what TACT stands for, T-A-C-T.
TACT is the foundation of our program. The T stands for team. The A stands for accountability. C stands for competition, and the last T stands for toughness.
Okay.
So that's what we want to be That's what we want our program to be about. That's what we want our kids learning from us before they graduate. We want to win football games, and everybody wants to win. But we feel like if our kids can leave our program with those 4 qualities, then we've been successful. And usually, to be honest, if you have those 4 qualities, you're probably going to win some football games.
Absolutely. 2-1 on the region. We have an opportunity to win the region championship, but do want to ask last week, I can't remember, did we give up a special teams touchdown last week to Fox Creek or no? No. Okay.
No, they scored twice on offense.
Good deal. I couldn't remember. But we do have something to point out. Jaden Figueroa came in and made the very first field goal of his career. I believe it was a 20-yarder. You can correct me. Okay, yep. 20-yarder. Also 3 for 3 on PAT. We talked about this last week, and I could see it in your eyes. Answered it very, the way you're supposed to as a coach. But I kind of had the idea that you might put him out there. And I hate I wasn't there to be able to see that young man's first field goal. But just tell us about your confidence. He comes on mid-season, pulling from the soccer team. We lost Oscar Espinoza, who is a very good kicker early on in the season. Just tell us about Jaden Figueroa,
yep.
And your confidence in him to make that 20-yarder, and then, of course, 3 for 3 on PATs.
Yeah. Watching him kick in practice, he's gotten better every day. We talk about kids getting better every week, but he gets better every day. So he's got a lot more than 20 yards in him. I'll put it that way. And he's gotten better every single day, and he's made all his PATs, and he comes out here. He works hard too, and a lot of it's self-directed. So just a really smart kid, really good kid, and just proud of him. It was a tough angle to make that kick too. He had to make it from the left hash.
Okay.
So a lot of times it's a 20-yarder. It's like an extra point, but it's not in the middle. So he had to kick it at an angle. So did a good job, man. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's a young guy, so. Did a good job for us.
Well, good deal. Was were his teammates super excited for him? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I figured they would be. So I guess that leads something that we'll have to talk about in the offseason, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about all this kind of stuff. But if Oscar Espinoza comes back and Jaden Figueroa continues on, you'll have 2 kickers.
That's right.
That is not a bad situation there.
Kickers and centers and pitchers and everything. You can't have too many of them. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, great game. Anything else you want to say about Fox Creek?
No, we can move on to Newberry.
All right.
Yes,
all right, Newberry is 9-0. They are 3-0 in region play. Cedric Jeter is in his 4th season as the head coach. He took over from Phil Strickland. He was Phil Strickland's defensive coordinator for 6 seasons, so this is his 11th season in the Newberry program. We know historically this is a very good program, always has been. They were 2A for a long time. They are 3A now, and we talked off air about the possibility of them being 2A once we reclassified. But Coach Jeter's overall record, he had some tough seasons there in the beginning when he took over, but he's 27-18. He's got the best start for Newberry right now since 2017, which shows you how good they have been in the past. Newberry is actually currently ranked number 3 in the South Carolina High School League standings for 3A. They've got an electric offense. They're averaging 41 points a game. As you said on last week's preview game, you can argue that Newberry is one of the best teams in the state. And I would totally agree with that. They have athletes. It's hard to pick out athletes that they have. I picked out a few, but I'm sure I'm missing a few because that's how many they have on their roster. They have several guys who have several D1 scholarship offers, several guys who are committed to local colleges and universities. Coach, just give us your opening thoughts on Newberry and the challenge that the Bulldogs present.
Obviously, Newberry's a very good football team. They're everything you want to be. They're big, they're strong, they're physical, they're well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They make some. They're a high school football team. They're like the rest of us in that aspect. But they've got a bunch of guys that have offers, obviously, and they just, like I said, they're everything you'd want to be in a football team. When Coach Jeter took over there, this group that he has, this is his 4th year there, so this group that he has as seniors, most of them were starting as freshmen. I think he told me the other day they've got 21 or 24 seniors or something like that.
Wow.
And most of those guys were starting as freshmen. So when you're starting a bunch of guys as freshmen, it's in a few years you're probably going to make a run. And they're obviously a really good football team. Not a lot of weaknesses. So, but with that said, they do what they do. They don't change for anybody. They're not gonna line up in a different formation like what you see with some schools. Like, for example, there's a couple teams we played this year. We'll go with Keenan. What we had seen from Keenan on film, literally all year, they come out and they run a completely different offense against us.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that with Newberry. Newberry is going to do what they do.
Yep.
They're going to do what they do on offense. They're going to do what they do on defense.
And challenge you to beat them.
So,
yep. And playing up there, Coach, have you coached up there before?
It's been a while. When I was at Pillion as an assistant, we were in the region with Newberry at one point for 2 years. So, yeah, I've been up there before.
Okay.
Yes,
been a long time. But tell us a little bit about last season. I believe it was 45-0.
Yep.
They came in. That was a region championship game, just like this one is. And we'll talk about the stakes of this one in a moment. But talk about last year's game. What went wrong?
We gave them the ball first. We slowed them down a little bit, and then they were able to score on a long run. And we had a great first drive. Went all the way down the field, hit a couple passes, ran the ball well. Tried to fake a field goal when we got down there, and ended up not getting it. And they went on a long drive and scored again. So we're down 14-0. Got the ball back and then fumbled, I think, on the first play, and they scored in one play. And then from that point forward, it was a lot of quick scores, and before you know it, it's out of control. So I think we're better than we were last year. So. And I think that's, I guess you could argue that that's obvious, but I think we're better than we were last year in a lot of aspects. So I think we're going to Newberry with a much better shot at beating these guys than we had when they came here last year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that, and I hope our kids are excited. You don't get to play in big-time games like this every week where that these guys are good. And so, of course, they are led by sophomore running back, and he's one of several running backs who are really good. Tymone Abrams, senior tight end, Jamil Howes Jr., and by the way, he has several scholarship offers, including Louisville, NC State, UCF, and University of Southern Florida. And then they have a star wide receiver, Jameer Crooks, and he is 6 feet, 165 pounds. He has 6 Division I offers, including Liberty, App State, and he's actually going to be playing in the North-South Bowl game later this year. They have athletes all across the field. I have somewhere on here, they've got a linebacker, Julia Sin, who is already committed to play at Presbyterian College. They have athletes all across the field, and that's just a few. They have several other guys who are committed, including some defensive linemen who have some decisions to make as far as scholarship offers go. Just talk a little bit about the athletes that they have. We know the Bulldog offense or defense is only allowing 14 points a game. Of course, they have notable wins. Clinton, we know, who won the 2A state championship last year. They beat them 41-12. Silver Bluff was a close one for them. They demolished Fox Creek 41-14, as well as Keenan 37-6. So just talk a little bit about all the athletes that they have up there.
They're good everywhere. They're really good in the skill positions. Jamel House just decommitted from South Carolina. So he's got offers from everywhere, and then Jameer Crooks and the running back, and the quarterback might be the best one. Kenton Caldwell is his name. He's not quite as big as they are, but man, he is electric with the ball in his hands. And then you flip around, and they don't really play a lot of guys both ways. House plays a little bit on defense, but then pretty much everybody else is a one-way player. A lot of depth for a school of their size. So defensively, they're big, defensively up front. All the defensive linemen can move. The linebackers are really, really good, especially 33, Julian Sin. You can see why he's going to PC. So, but I told our guys, we've got some guys that are getting some looks too.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you get more looks.
Mm-hmm.
You place it, you go beat these guys that have all these offers.
Yep.
And this is how you get a look.
Because even with the offers they have, those schools that have offered are wanting to check in on their investment, right?
Yes,
they want
sir.
to make sure they're progressing. And so this is an opportunity for our guys to be able to shine. I know William
Right.
Geddes has got several offers. Is there anybody who currently else has any other than him?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
But that recruiting part for especially the smaller Division II schools,
Mm-hmm.
it heats up right after football season. When their
Yep.
season's over, they start really trying to finalize that
Yeah.
incoming class. So we'll get some guys that get some offers here probably in December and January.
Well, I saw that Dante Caldwell's wanting to go to Benedict. That wouldn't
Right.
surprise me at all if they came in and said, why don't you come on the football
That's
team?
right.
But as well as Jarrell Wine, I wouldn't be surprised if
Right.
some came in for him and some others. And so anyway, as we're looking at this, it's interesting to note in the last 20 years, Swansea and Newberry have only met one time on the field, and that was last year.
Yep.
So this is not a historic opponent for us. And you can kind of see why. I mean, it's a good little ways away. And overall record of 8-4 last year. The Bulldogs defeated Georgetown in the first round of the playoffs, 48-0, and then in the second round they hosted Dillon and lost to a good Dillon team, 33-28. And so this is going to be literally a dogfight, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I'm not going to be able to attend this one either, but Matt and Noel are going to be there, and they'll be there to do the post game with you and talk with you about it there up at Newberry. But we do this every week. Swansea wins if
we can stop the big play. We've got Newberry. When you watch Newberry on film, it's big play after big play after big play. We've got to make them grind it out. Not many people have made them grind it out. Silver Bluff did. Silver Bluff kept things in front of them. They did a good job. They created some negative plays. So we've got to eliminate the big play. And I thought we did a good job of that last week. We're going to have to do it again this week. And then we're going to have to control the line of scrimmage. As good as they are up front, I feel like that's the strength of our team.
Yeah.
We're good on both sides of the ball on the offensive and defensive lines. We are going to have to control the line of scrimmage. And if we control the line of scrimmage and we can eliminate the big play, we're gonna beat these guys.
Well, and I love that, and I truly believe that we can. I believe this team is a lot better than last year's, and that's no knock to last year's, but every year you want to get better. This time next year, I want to say we're better than this year.
That's right.
But we got a lot of good seniors on this team. What kind of offense does Newberry run?
Newberry spreads it out. They're 4 wide pretty much all the time.
Gotcha.
Every now and then they'll bring an extra back into the game, but they're almost always 4 wide.
Gotcha. Well, we've got to be good on our special teams units as well. We've talked every week. Didn't allow a special team score against Fox Creek, so that was huge. But we talked a little bit last week about assignment football as far as special teams go. I'm assuming we've got to continue to be good on that side too.
Absolutely. Got to continue to do better there, and we're making strides. So. Got to continue to do that well too, and that's part of that big play department. You can't give up special team scores.
Exactly, and if they have great athletes like we know they do, that can happen on those plays. And so we've talked a lot about Newberry's athletes, but I definitely want to mention that we got some dogs too.
We do.
I don't want anybody to think that we're downplaying our guys. We have some incredible athletes, but we do want to give credit where credit is due. We've had a great season, and I truly believe that Newberry is probably, no matter what happens this week, I think Newberry is probably going to go pretty deep into playoffs. But I also believe that we can do that too.
That's right.
So I definitely believe that this region is extremely strong. I think you're going to see Silver Bluff win a game or two in the playoffs. And so that's definitely going to put our region kind of on notice. And I definitely believe the top 3 teams in our region are at least going to win 1 or 2 games in the playoffs, which, by the way, if you win 2 games, it gets you right and knocking on the door.
That's right.
To be able to play. I believe are we going to be Lower State this year?
Yeah, we're Lower State.
So we'll be Lower State championship or conference game. And so we don't want to look ahead of that. We will preview next week all about that. We got to worry about Newberry this week. Dante Caldwell, going to need him big time. DeAndre, who continues to grow, but Dante's just got that size. Coach, just a little bit about the Caldwell guys, and how's practice? Everything been good at practice this week? You think we're on a good trajectory?
Yes, sir. Both the Caldwell boys have done a great job for us all year, and one's a senior, one's a sophomore. Obviously, as we said before, they're not related. They get along great, and Dante's done a good job of kind of helping DeAndre along, and DeAndre's coming into his own, and they've both done a good job for us, and we know they're going to continue to. And it has been a good week of practice, and got today and tomorrow, and just continuing to get better.
So when our guys watch the film, are they like, oh wow, or are they like, oh yeah, we can do this?
I don't think our kids look at anybody and go, oh, my God, just being honest with you. And when we watch film with them, we're talking about what we're trying to do to accomplish this.
Counter them, yeah.
It's in this day and age, man, our kids aren't looking at anybody going in awe of how good they are. Because, our confidence is pretty good. And we have a right to be confident. And we're not cocky. That's something that we work on a lot. And I've seen other teams this year that kind of carry themselves that way. And one thing I'm proud of with our kids is we do have a confidence, but it's not an overconfidence.
That's right.
So no, our confidence going into this game is not an issue for our guys. I promise you that.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, fans, I want to encourage you to travel to Newberry. It's not too far. I believe exit 74. So make sure you make your way up there to Newberry High School and support our guys. 7:30 kick. If you can't make it this week, that's okay, because we will have a home playoff game for you at Doug Bennett the next week. So you need to tune in to next week's preview show as we'll preview the unknown opponent, and looking forward to that as we will welcome them into a hostile environment and hopefully a packed out Doug Bennett Stadium as it has been all year long. So our fans usually travel well. Expect nothing less with Newberry.
Yes, sir. Y'all come on out to Newberry and have her back.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for listening to Tiger Den podcast episode number 4 as we are previewing the Newberry Bulldogs. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, but thanks for doing this for your fans.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right. You guys have a great afternoon, and we will hopefully see you Friday night. And if not, we'll see you next Friday at Doug Bennett Stadium. This episode of the Tiger Den podcast is brought to you by Blazon and Gaston, as well as the First Baptist Church in Gaston. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.